protesters clash with police in Dover. Anti-immigration protesters blocked a major road as they clashed with police on a march to Dover. At least 100 officers were at the scene by the A20, which was at a standstill in both directions this afternoon after protesters assembled in large numbers. Police clashed with demonstrators at the entrance to Dover Harbour, with several officers seen restraining one person on the ground who was then arrested. Some protesters sang "Rule, Britannia," and shouted "England till I die" as they marched in the direction of the Kent town. Images from the scene show things turning ugly, with police pinning protesters to the ground and pushing them back as they formed a barricade. There were fears of violence ahead of today's demonstrations, with both pro- and anti-immigration activists announcing their intention to assemble, despite pleas from local MP Natalie Elphicke to stay away. A protest in Dover in the middle of a pandemic is not a sensible or responsible thing to do, she said on Friday. "We cannot risk a second wave. Protesters should stay away from Dover this weekend." A group of about 100 pro-migrant protesters that had gathered in the town centre has since been dispersed, while anti-migrant protesters are being walked off the A20 and along York Street, in the direction of the railway station. Officers on horseback were among those monitoring the situation today. At one point, a group of around 60 people shouting anti-migrant slogans were seen moving along Dover seafront. Pro-migrant activists gathered in Market Square in the town in a demonstration organised by the Kent Anti-Racism Network. Addressing a crowd of about 100, Peter Keenan, from Kent Refugee Help, said, "When society sees people who are fleeing war and turns them away, that says something about the state of your society." He continued, "We are not those people. We are standing up and welcoming people who are in desperate circumstances fleeing from awful situations." It is thought that groups from across the country have traveled to Dover. Anti-racist group Hope Not Hate had raised concerns in advance of the event that there will be violence and that splintered elements of the British far-right may also travel to the Kent town. The Kent town saw ugly clashes in 2016 when rival protest groups assembled to demonstrate over immigration. The latest protesters have been sparked by a recent influx of migrants risking their lives to cross the channel in small boats. The total number of migrants who have crossed the sea to Britain in 2020 is now more than 5,600, analysis by the PA news agency shows. Chief Superintendent Nigel Brooks from Kent Police said, "As a force, it is our responsibility to facilitate peaceful protests. However, we will not tolerate violence or disorder. Anyone planning to visit Dover with the intention of committing offences should be aware they are not welcome here and that we will seek to prosecute anyone who breaks the law." Last night, a humanitarian charity lit up the white cliffs of Dover with messages welcoming refugees.